Rangers in 2022 according to Football Manager 2017. If you saw the Celtic episode of our Football Manager series, then you'll already know that things can't be great for Rangers. With the green and white side of Glasgow dominating the Scottish game and winning every trophy possible, the divide between Celtic and Rangers is growing further apart rather than getting closer like Gers fans would have hoped. Rangers have finished runners-up in 4 of the last 5 Scottish Premiership seasons and dropped down to 3rd in the 2019-20 season, with Aberdeen reclaiming 2nd spot. It's been a familiar theme in the domestic cups too, with Rangers reaching every cup final bar 2 League Cups, where it was Hearts who had the privilege of being beat by Celtic. Rangers fans, I wish I could bring you some good news, but you're currently managed by Alan Pardew, as the dancing Silver Fox brings his managerial talents north of the border. Let's get this over with and take a look at the starting 11. In goal is Wes Foderingham. The current Rangers number 1 is still number 1 in 2022 as he begins his 8th season as the first choice goalkeeper at Ibrox. Foderingham hasn't been doing a bad job between the sticks, averaging just over a 7 rating throughout the simulation, so where has it all been going wrong for Rangers? At right back it's James Tavernier. Another familiar face, James Tavernier is also beginning his 8th season at Ibrox, but things aren't going quite as well for the former Newcastle defender. After the opening 4 games of the season, Tavernier has an awful average of 6.38, so it's crazy to think he's actually still in the first team. His trademark free kicks are becoming a familiar sight in Glasgow, but either he's lost all ability with a dead ball, or there's a new free kick taker at Rangers, because the goals have really dried up for Tavernier. Centre back is Bruno Aquel-Manga. The first new signing in this team, 34-year-old Aquel-Manga probably wasn't the first man Rangers were hoping for. Having been a consistent figure at Cardiff, he briefly joined Toulouse and then returned to the UK on a free this summer as he begins his first season in the Scottish Premiership. Former defender Clint Hill has removed himself from football completely after retirement, no doubt just sitting in Rangers pubs reminding everyone about that goal he scored against Celtic. Next up it's Danny Wilson. The third current Rangers player who is still in the first team come the year 2022, Danny Wilson is just re-finding his feet after missing pretty much all of last season with injury. The 30-year-old had been doing well before being struck by injury, but is straight back in the first team as Rangers look to break the Celtic streak. He may have been dubbed as the next Alan Hansen during the early days of his career, but that certainly isn't the case in 2022 for Danny Wilson. Left back is Kyle Gallagher. The only regen and youngest player in what is a very old side, Kyle Gallagher is just 18 years old and has already picked up a Scotland cap and made his Rangers debut a year earlier at 17, back when he had to drink his Buckfast illegally. Get a Scottish stereotype in there early, that'll endear the viewers. The defender is currently a target for Premier League Bournemouth. In holding midfield it's Mark Noble. The oldest player in this starting 11 at 35, Noble finally left West Ham in 2021, joining Rangers on a free and recording 6 assists in his first season. A leader in the middle of the park, Noble can still hack it despite his age, but maybe that's got something to do with the standard of Scottish football. Take a dig at the quality of Scottish football, another great way to endear the Scottish viewer. Next up in the middle it's James McArthur. Another golden oldie, McArthur is 34 years old at the heart of Rangers' midfield, with the Glaswegian arriving on a free from Crystal Palace in 2020. The Scotland international had an impressive first 2 seasons in blue, but starts the new season with an average of 6.45 after the first 4 games. Also in centre midfield it's Richie Towell. Finally Rangers have spent some money on someone, with the club paying St Johnstone £400,000 for Richie Towell's services. Just a shame the 31-year-old used to play for the enemy Celtic. Our next centre midfielder is John Fleck. Yep, we've got an insanely narrow midfield that has a collective age of 131. John Fleck is back at Ibrox after almost 10 years away, racking up some serious miles in League One with Coventry and Sheffield United. But he's back home with the number 10 on his back. Andy Halliday is back from his loan spell in Azerbaijan and is now Rangers captain, but can't even get on the bench, while his best mate and former Gerd Joey Barn is manager of Hull City. Up front we've got Alex Jakubiak. While we've got an ageing midfield, our front two is a lot more fresh-faced, beginning with the 26-year-old Jakubiak, who is considered the key player at the club right now. He arrived on a free from Watford in 2020 and has scored a modest 27 goals in 62 games. The money issues are clearly still haunting the club though, with James Tavernier and Richie Towell the only two players in the 11 who actually cost any money. And finally it's Jai Quitongo. You guessed it, he cost absolutely nothing, arriving on a free in 2017 from Morton. The 24-year-old has been less than impressive, with his best season being his first, in which he scored 10 goals. Rangers are certainly missing Martin Waghorn's goals, who has just joined Hibernian, while Kenny Miller eventually retired and is waiting for his first job in coaching. Maybe he could teach the Rangers strikers a thing or two. So that's Rangers in 2022 according to Football Manager 2017. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And check out our newest channel, HITC7s, the new home of football lists, looking at the 7 best, worst, funniest and weirdest moments of football's past and present.